there's other reasons why people's careers don't take off in the music industry in Hollywood. It's not necessarily because of what's going on behind closed doors.
So Carey Morgan was very credible. You could tell that she was corroborating a lot of the things that Cassie had said on the stand. So that was helpful for the jury to see that, okay, this person is not another Dawn Richard.
No, she definitely wasn't. Yeah, no, she definitely wasn't. She had not filed a lawsuit. She was not after money. Her story had not changed over time. So these were pluses for the government, that this was I think this was the real sort of clean witness that they had, you know?
It was interesting, they asked her when we have the 2018 hangar hitting incident in which broke up the friendship between Cassie and Carey. So essentially, Diddy storms into Cassie's house and he says, quote, "Who is she cheating on? Who is she cheating on?" And she wanted to know who the boyfriend was at the time when her and Sean were together. So Carey says she didn't know, and that's when she was hit in the head with the hanger. She ultimately settled with Diddy through Cassie. She got $30,000 cash
for an
and
NDA.
signed an NDA.
Yeah, but remember that she also testified that wasn't she the witness that testified that she sent a message to Combs in 2016 saying, you know, I want him to be a better person because he doesn't love himself that much. Here's where I think the defense is going as well, is that he is not a violent person, that he has battled some foibles and addiction and mental health issues, and as a result, these things have happened in the past. And so that message, I think the defense is going to argue in that way. I think the other thing that was important about Carey Morgan is the jealousy. That there is definitely a defense theme here that Cassie did not get what she was hoping for out of this relationship. She was not Kim Porter. In fact, she was nixed from New Year's Eve parties that Kim Porter was at. She was also not Gina, another girlfriend that was in Diddy's life for a long time.
She sort of maybe spilled the beans and said that they had a baby together.
And maybe she got pregnant. I mean, Cassie was definitely, I mean, she was like the freak-off girlfriend. I hate to say it, but she was the side chick, you know? And that is going to, the defense is going to go hard arguing that this is somebody who has an axe to grind. She never got what she wanted out of this relationship, including the fact that she didn't make it in her career.
She also didn't bring these charges. She filed the suit because of this. Possibly.
Absolutely. Well, you know, she filed the suit. She got dragged in, and of course, she had to do her part as a witness. But, you know, I think that you got to look at the totality of the picture and look at this relationship. I think there was volatility, there was toxicity. On some level, it reminds me of Amber Heard and Johnny Depp's trial, where it was a civil defamation trial, but the ugly domestic violence was on display, and we all thought, wait a minute, is this a domestic violence trial? We're dealing with the same thing here. It's not a domestic violence trial.
So do they have a slam dunk charge conviction yet?
Nope.
Okay, so today we all just to end.
Also, where is the criminal enterprise? I've seen no. I mean,
and the RICO charges. Correct.
I don't see any testimony about that. I mean, a little bit by Cassie, but not enough to make him guilty of racketeering. So the prosecution has a long way to go, and I think the challenge now, what we're seeing is that they've got problematic witnesses with credibility issues.
That's not good. If we're only on now the second
no
week.
Bueno.
Okay.
No.
So we ended today with David James, who was Diddy's personal assistant back in 2007 to 2009, around the time when he and Cassie were just starting this relationship. He only had 2 interactions personally with Cassie, and he kind of talked about those, and they seemed kind of canned, his responses. They seemed kind of staged,
rehearsed. Yeah.
And it seemed as if he said that he overheard Sean saying that Cassie was moldable. He had her right where he wanted her. So it's unclear really what he meant by that. Was that in her career? Was that in their sex lives? Unknown, but this person seems to be not a great witness so far for the prosecution because he does seem a little stiff. He cried on the stand. What do you think about him shedding tears?
I mean, he cried. Who knows? He cried maybe because what he rehearsed doesn't align with what he thinks they're asking him. Who knows? Or he cried maybe because, who knows, the way that he left the job. We don't know. How did he leave his job?
One thing that was interesting is that when he left the courtroom for the day, he looked at Diddy and nodded. You haven't really seen anyone look at Diddy as they come and go from the courtroom.
Yeah.
But so it seems to me that he
And
has some
I
sort
think
of.
the defense is going to explore that. Sir, you're upset because blah blah blah. Whatever the defense knows about this guy, and suddenly he'll say, yeah, actually, or maybe he left. At Diddy's, the employment by Diddy's, as part of Diddy's enterprise, under some terms where he was let go. Maybe he has an axe to grind. We don't know. I mean, the guy worked for 2 years.
Yes.
I can't say that he's the most loyal employee.
Well, it was a very hard job. He was working 20 hours a day sometimes, and renting a room on the Upper West Side. So he wasn't living the life of luxury that some might think. So, all right, we started this week. Not a great day to sum up for the prosecution, you think?
I mean, look, it's too early to tell who's winning, who's losing, but when we're talking about a criminal case, we're talking about proof beyond a reasonable doubt. And there's a lot of doubt in this case already. And as much as he is he's done some disturbing things, he's been violent, we've established that, I think, for the prosecution, and he's freaky, which is not the government's business, it's his sex life. There's not enough to say that he committed racketeering, conspiracy, and sex trafficking. Now, prostitution across state lines is an easier charge to prove.
Those are the escort men.
Correct.
Getting flown.
Correct. I mean, that's an easy, but that's a nothing burger in the big picture, obviously.
Okay. Well, tomorrow we're expecting to hear from Cassie's mother, Regina Ventura. She'll be hearing about some of the abuse she endured. She wrote her mom an email. That she felt like her life was being threatened. So we'll hear from her perspective on how that relationship was tumultuous all throughout, and Mom tried to get her out of it.
I also want to know from Mom why Cassie and her husband moved back in with her and her husband in 2023, which is the year that
she got the money.
She filed the lawsuit, I believe.
Right before she got the money.
No, I'm sorry. 2023 was when she offered her book rights for $30 million, and it was rejected.
Yes, but then
and then she filed a lawsuit, and
Right.
he paid her the $20 million. So
Right.
2023 is a significant year, and it's way after the pandemic, so we can't really say it was a pandemic-related move. I'm curious to know why she moved back in with her husband and her kids.
To be continued. Sarah, thanks. We'll talk to you tomorrow.